Hello and welcome back to the Tapsins podcast with Bailey Scott. Hello, y'all. How's it going? My voice is back to health and I feel so rejuvenated. I feel so alive. I truly, my old nails are off, guys. I don't know, okay, before we get into the topic of today's episode, I was having such an off day yesterday. I was just feeling so not like my future self. I wasn't feeling like that girl yesterday. I just felt so low about myself. I just felt down in the dumps, It was one of those days, as people say. And I just was not feeling it. I just wasn't feeling the day. I wasn't feeling the air. I wasn't feeling myself. And it was trickling into the rest of my night. And eventually, I was texting all my friends, and then I was texting one of my closest friends, Andy. And I don't know, they were just really reiterating to me that I can switch my mood around. I can. Just because I feel this way doesn't necessarily mean I have to stay that way, Let yourself feel, let yourself go through the motions of what your body is going through, because we're changing every day, and eventually we get to a point where we kind of reach, I don't want to say a breaking point, because that kind of makes it seem like a depressive episode, which it does happen to certain people, which is totally valid. But for me, I've been doing this quantum leap challenge, and I've just been doing this fasting with my church, and I've just been doing a lot of spiritual inner work right now. So yesterday it just felt like I hit a plateau where I was just I feel like I feel like everything I'm doing isn't working, and I just was feeling this immense feeling of just, I don't want to say unfulfillment, because that makes it sound so depressing, but I just reached a point where I was just I feel like I'm doing all this work, and for what? Oh, sun is coming out to play. Ooh, I love the sun. So yeah, I just felt like I reached a point where I was I kind of don't know what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. I just want to eat, or I just want to whatever. So, yeah, I reached that point yesterday. So I was texting my friends. I was y'all, I feel like I have no life here. All I do is school and work, and I just kind of felt like I hit a plateau. But as I was talking to my friend Andy, they were reiterating to me that everything that I might be uncertain about doesn't necessarily mean that it's not going to happen. I just have to have that full-fledged faith that even though I feel this way right now, feelings doesn't mean that there's uncertainty on the other side. And as I was texting them, I was just you know what? This just brings so much peace to my heart, because it just really reiterates to me that today was just one of those days. And today, as in yesterday, was just something that happens when you start to peel the onion. You start to have really good days. Today, I woke up feeling so rejuvenated, alive, healthy. Today I woke up feeling so good. And these past few, since the beginning of January, so week or so, I've just been feeling a little down. I was feeling sick. I was just a little doing all this stuff with my church and the Quantum Leap Challenge and all this stuff. And I was just I just don't know if what I'm doing is going anywhere, but I think that it is. I just need to give it time, because it truly has only been 9 days. It truly has only been 9 days. And I am very much so a person that's if I'm doing something consistently for a week, I'm okay, where are the results? That's besides the point. Sorry, I went on that rant about yesterday. I wonder if I sit back, is this better? Oh, maybe I should sit further away from you guys. Oh, that looks so much better. I should have sat so far from the camera so long ago. Okay, anyways. Sorry, camera adjustment. Okay, but if you're listening to this on Spotify, then you're all good. In today's episode, I wanted to get into being a paradox. Okay, I've been seeing... So the first time I saw this, I was on Instagram stories, which I've been consuming way too much. So that's why I'm so glad that I'm uploading more podcasts. because y'all, the consumption has been to the max. Okay, we need to get off fucking Instagram. Me specifically, I need to get it off. I need to get off. But I was on Instagram the other day and I saw someone's story, and it was like one of those like hope core videos. If you guys know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. I'll put a little like clip of it somewhere on here. It was like one of those hope core videos of just like this guy like voiceovering, and it was saying like, be the paradox, be the athlete that also paints, be the scientist that also writes music, be the paradox of what you're perceived, like be the poet that also lifts weights, like stuff like that, right? It was just like, be the paradox of something that wouldn't necessarily go together. And it was a great video. I was inspired. I was like, wow, that is like period. I didn't even like know a good way to put it, So I really, really resonated with that, because I always felt like that there were so many layers to me that it just didn't seem right for me to make like just a spiritual podcast, or just like a vlogging channel, or like just kind of portray myself as one kind of person on social media, because none of that felt accurate to the person that I am. I felt like I was like, I love to like have fun and be quirky. I love fashion. I love God. I love food. I love all of these things. And it just feels so limiting to kind of just like be like, have a niche, do this niche, you'll be set. And I'm like, okay, I get that concept. I do. I get, and I see the growth in that. But I just always felt like there was so much more to me that I just wanted to portray. Of course, in a way that's, aesthetic, in a way that kind of fits into a algorithmic box, but also like, fuck that. And then, so I saw that TikTok or that Instagram, that reel. Am I like a millennial? Like, I'm not a millennial. Like, why am I talking like that? I saw that reel and I was like, okay, cute. Love that. Resonated. Okay. Then I was watching Emma Chamberlain's podcast, Anything Goes, which if you don't listen to that, I'm sure that you listen to that. I don't know why you would listen to this and not that. Just kidding. Stay till the end, please. But I was listening to Emma Chamberlain's Anything Goes podcast, and she was talking about ins and outs of 2025. And what's in, I forget the way that she worded it, but she said like, what's in is not being confined to your core, quote unquote. I don't even know exactly the way she worded it, but essentially it was along the same of be a paradox. She didn't say be a paradox, but that's exactly what she was going at. She was like, what does it matter if you're a cottagecore girl that loves like a dirty martini? Or what does it matter if you're a Pilates girl that loves to listen to rage or EDM? Or, like she's just like, but she was relating it more to style, kind of like what's wrong with being like a clean girl that also loves like heavy metal. You can love your Pilates and your clean girl aesthetic, but then you can also love like, EDM music or like all of that stuff, right? The duality of it all, what makes you, like why be so confined to one sort of aesthetic when you can kind of just like be yourself and just kind of like have fun and, surprise people, right? Like that's kind of what I wanted to get into today, is be the most you and the most paradoxical. Is that even a word? Sorry, I have to look it up because I can't. Not necessarily self-contradictory, like don't contradict yourself, but contradict people in the sense of like, oh, I thought she was on that. Now she's you know what I mean? I love having so many layers to me. Like I remember when I first started smoking our little fun Mary Jane, I wasn't giving off that vibe. Like, and I didn't even know that it was considered something that could have been a paradox, right? Like I felt like the kind of aura I was giving off was kind of more like girly girl kind of vibes. Like I never really gave off, like when you think of stoner, I never really gave off stoner vibes. And I think that's why I loved being a stoner. One of the reasons why I loved being a stoner during that era was because I felt like people would look at me and not assume that I smoke weed, and then I would tell them like, yeah, I smoke like every day. They would be like, oh, like I wasn't expecting that. And it's like, it's cool because at the time I was like, wow, like I love that I don't look like someone that you would assume does that, but then like you learn that I do that. And I just loved that it added so many layers to me. Seems a little self-centered now that I look at it, to kind of like something just because the way I'm perceived but that's not the only reason why I like smoking weed. But I'm not gonna lie, like it was one thing that I was like, yeah, I do that. Like, yeah. Like, first of all, I doubt that even anyone actually like looked at me like that. It could have just been easily something that I crafted in my head, but it was nice because it just made me feel like, oh, like, yeah, I don't look like that. That's crazy. But I just think it's so fun to be a person that has so many different like sides to you that you don't necessarily open up with right away. I think that I think back to when I was a kid and like when we were all children, how I just had so many interests and so many things, and I was not scared at all to like portray those interests, not just online, because I wasn't online until I was like 12, but it was fun to portray those interests just to like get to know myself, like being such a young kid. Like I loved to dance, I loved fashion, I loved to perform, I loved gymnastics even though I was so bad at it. Like I loved to bake with my mom. Like it was just like so many different sides to me. Like I remember, I don't know if I told this on the podcast already, but there was like a bunch of boxes in my old house, and I built like a Barbie city in my basement. I like had these boxes and I labeled each box like a bank or like hairstylist store or whatever. And I just had so much Barbie stuff, and I was just like, I'm gonna make like a Barbie neighborhood, and then I'm gonna make a little city. And it was just so fun to explore my creativity in such a way that I never have. Like, okay, architect, no. But it was fun to be able to like explore my creativity in a way that I never have before. And I just had no shame. I had no doubt. I had no like, oh, is this gonna look good? Who cares? I just did it, And I think that is such a beautiful thing about being a human, is the fact that we can have layers to us. And for me, since I would say that this is a spiritual podcast, so we're going to get deep. We get deep in every episode, okay? When I look at myself now, I think that it's fun that I have such a crafted relationship with God that's so different than the masses. I'll just say for me, my relationship with God is not traditional. My relationship with God is something that has been crafted from a more new age perspective to a godly, just overall love perspective, because I came from a place that was like very new age spirituality and tarot cards and crystals and all of that. And I loved that. Like I felt so passionate about like, how do you guys not see the God in all of this? Like I was so into the fact that God was within everything that I was doing. And I feel like a part of that is true because it was true to me. Does that mean that it's true to everybody? No, because I know that people still love to say like universe and they worship other gods, and that's to each their own, like I'm not one to be like, there's only one God out there to worship and I'm going to tell you who it is. Like, no, like I want people to stay as true to themselves as possible because that's what keeps world peace. But for me, I always knew that there was one God and one love that I was essentially worshiping the whole time. And it was our Lord and Savior. And it's just at the time, I was just not really knowing exactly. I couldn't put the word God or Jesus into my mouth because it just felt like that I was confining myself to a box of some sort. And I was like, no, God is too big to just be this, this vessel that is reprimanding me and judging me all the time. Like, God is such more of a loving energy than the church has crafted God out to be, and it makes me sad. So I'm not gonna like worship this God that y'all are worshiping. I'm worshiping a God that loves everybody. And as I've morphed from that new age perspective to more of like the perspective I have now, it's like it's always been the same God that has been the loving energy. It's just been us humans that have crafted and morphed this version of God to being this judgmental parental figure that doesn't love you if you don't follow the 10 commandments. Like, God, I feel, is a parental figure that will always love you no matter what. And that's what also I love is just like, for me, I feel like what's a paradox on my end is the fact that I can have such a beautiful relationship with God where I can still like do meditations and I can still take knowledge that I had from New Age and kind of implement it in a godly way. And like some Christians would probably look at that and shun that and be very against that. But I just feel like for me, it has such a unique relationship with God that's crafted for me and God specifically. Like, I feel like it doesn't have to be confined to what the church says is okay or what, a certain Christian says is okay. It's what me and God says it's okay. You know what I mean? I had to get deep. I had to go there just because if you're also someone that you feel you resonate with Jesus and the Holy Spirit and all of that, but you're still kind of battling like, I don't like what all the church has to say. Sometimes it's still judgy. Sometimes that's that and the third. Just remember that you can be the paradox within the church. You can be the paradox within the other relationships that people might have. If you meditate and you envision Jesus, if you meditate and you feel God's presence, then I truly feel that you have something within you. There's such a love that's crafted that makes you want to do good for spirit and therefore do good for yourself, because spirit just wants to see you happy and growing and fulfilled. So the more that you want to do good for the spirit overall, the more you want to do good for you, and vice versa. The more you want to do good for you and your soul and your heart and your physical body, the more you want to do good for yourself, the more that you want to do good for God. If you are someone that truly loves one thing, but you also love another thing, don't give up on one thing just because like maybe you're getting recognized for it, maybe you have a job for it, whatever. Don't neglect the other things that you also love, because I feel that if we just pour so much into one cup that's completely overflowed and we neglect all the other cups that hold so much of ourselves in them, then we're going to regret, not taking singing lessons or not taking guitar lessons or not going to that painting class, or, we're going to regret if we neglect one thing, but we're pouring everything into one thing that maybe is a passion. Maybe you are happy about that one thing and you feel like, nope, if I reached this, I reached all fulfillment in life. And if that's how you feel, I validate that. That's amazing. But if you're someone that just loves to do so many different things, like, don't neglect going to the gym because you found your dream career or something. That's a stupid example, but you know what I mean. Like, if you love to do yoga, or if you love to paint, or if you love to build computers, I don't know, okay? If you love to do one thing, but you have, say, your dream job, or say that you just have so many things in life that you're just juggling and you don't know which creative outlet to go to, so you just do nothing. I feel that having layers to us is really, truly what makes us us. So just keep that in mind, that throughout this year, if there's something you want to try, or there's something you want to get back into, or there's something that you feel like you've been neglecting for years, jump back into it, do it again, don't give up, because I think that it's so much easier, it's so much harder to give up than to keep going, which is a quote. that my friend Andy told me yesterday, and that hit my gut. So don't feel confined to having to be a certain version of yourself because you feel like that's what will be accepted, or you feel like that's what will make sense, quote unquote. Like, do shit that doesn't make sense. Confuse people, but not in a way that's like manipulation. Confuse people in the sense of like, oh, I thought this girl like was one way and she's just full of surprises. I love surprising people with different parts of my personality. Like, there was also another thing. These are dumb examples, okay? This was a younger, past version of me, okay? What also I loved about my cute stoner girl era was I loved like being someone that would swear a lot too. Like, and I don't swear as much. I still do. Obviously, I swear to this podcast. But I don't swear nearly as much as I used to. But I loved being that person that would just like not cuss in the way that was so like, whoa, like, okay, relax. It was in a way that I felt was funny. And it was just funny being like this like pretty girl that just like looks super nice, looks super sweet or whatever. And like, but I'm also a stoner that like loves to like swear, and I'm like a bad girl. I don't know if that's what my intention was. I didn't want to actually be a bad girl, but it was fun. I like being kind of like perceived as this person that like looks super cute and dainty and like doesn't do anything wrong. And then you find out that I'm a stoner who like just YOLO, I don't give a fuck. Like I loved that like kind of duality side of me. Now I don't necessarily, as I look back, I don't think that quote unquote bad girl version of me was actually like a version of me. I think it's something that I wanted to tap into to kind of explore, that side of me. I guess you could, I wouldn't even consider it like a dark feminine, because I feel like a dark feminine is way more mysterious and more, something in me wants to say aromatic. Is that even a word? Like, what am I saying? Just like magnetic. Magnetic, I think, is the word I was looking for. Aromatic is an artist. Period. Okay, so aromatic. Aromatic is an artist. I was thinking the way I spelt it was aura-matic. I spelled aura-matic. Auramatic. And I was, obviously I looked that up. It's an artist. But aromatic, which is like scent, is having a strong, pleasant, often spicy, fragrant smell with herbs, rosemary, flower, and then it's also in chemistry. Anyway, what I was getting at was I feel like dark feminine energy is more, I feel like aromatic could go with it though, like a strong, pleasant, often spicy aura. Okay, that's kind of what I was getting at. I felt like I was tapping into a version of me that just wanted to kind of be like a I don't give a fuck kind of person. I never really was, because I always cared about what people thought. I always compared myself. It's so weird because I loved being perceived as someone that was just like this chill stoner girl that was just like chill. But then behind closed doors, I was like so sad and like always comparing myself and always making myself feel like crap. And it's like, well, girl, pick a side, but regardless, I truly think that now I feel like my paradox is like, I don't even know. I'm exploring it. I don't even know. And that's the fun part is I don't know. I feel like anything that I say that I love to do is kind of like, oh, I would expect you to like that. But I guess it doesn't really matter because I'm growing more into myself every single day. So it's like, I could say that I'm like a gym rat that like loves music, but like there's so much more to me that I'm still trying to figure out. And I wouldn't even consider myself a gym rat. I haven't been to the gym in like a week. Regardless, if there's something that you love and you have a multitude of things that you love, be a multifaceted queen. Love your Pilates and love your heavy metal. Love frolicking in a field of flowers, but also being in a mosh pit, love shopping at the mall for hours, and also just sitting at home in a candlelight reading a book. Like, love being so many different versions of yourself, and explore who that girl is. Explore who that person is. If you consider yourself to be a person that just loves so many different things, explore it. If there's one thing specifically that you want to explore, like for me, it's music. I'm exploring it because it's such a passionate thing that I knew if I didn't explore it, I would regret it. But that doesn't mean that I'm neglecting this podcast, or that doesn't mean that I'm neglecting my YouTube channel, or that doesn't mean that I want to stop making cute little quirky TikToks, you know? Like, I have so many different things that I love to just like avenue in, because there's just so many different things that I love, and I want to have the freedom to explore that, and I want you to have the freedom to explore that as well. So thank you guys so much for tapping into the Tapped In podcast. I hope that you got something from it. If you don't mind, rate my podcast 5 stars. If you're listening on Spotify, if you're watching this on YouTube, give this video a like and subscribe. And yeah, don't forget to be yourself, and remember to stay tapped in. Bye, y'all.